Peace, family. Vicki Dillard here. So pleased to be a contributor here on African Diaspora News Channel. As you come in, please make sure that you like, that you share, and that you subscribe to this amazing global news channel. Okay, thank you so very much. You all may have heard people have been getting so excited, and many folks have been shocked with recent statements that Evangelical evangelist Pat Robertson, he's known for the 700 Club, but what some folks may not know or maybe forget is that he's actually the founder of CBN, this big Christian network. And of course, one of the shows on said network and really other places, I believe, is the 700 Club. And some folks don't realize also that he ran for president at one time, and that I believe it was his father that was also a politician. So there's this cross connection between the religion and politics, and them trying to influence it. And many of us know that Pat Robertson has this very racist, anti-Black history. I want you to listen. This person who's so pro-police, so anti-Black in so many ways, I want you to listen to a little bit of what he said recently on his show.
I asked for a demonstration, and I have here in front of me that this is not the real thing. It's a plastic, but this is, in our police department, we use the Sig Sauer. Others use the Glock, but it looks something like this, and it feels like this. This is as I say, is a plastic weapon. This, they don't even make tasers any longer black. This is a taser. Now, Terry, I know cross and all that rest of it, but can you feel this one and then feel this one and tell me you couldn't tell the difference?
This is lighter.
Of course it's lighter. We don't have the battery in that, because if we did, we...
Also, I'm going to say, you know, I think a lot of people are thinking, like I was, that both the gun and the taser would be put on your dominant side, but it's not that way.
They have to cross, where they have them on different.
So you actually have to reach across yourself to
you
get
feel
the
difference. I
yeah,
mean,
it's definitely
there's just no
discernible
comparison. As I say, they're not making tasers in this yellow color anymore. They're making in black. They're making them yellow. Now, how she made the difference was she shot that poor guy to death, saying, "This is what I thought. I thought was my taser." And if you can't tell the difference in the feel of those things, it's crazy. Anyhow, she deserves, but I am pro-police, folks. I think we need the police. We need their servants, and they do a good job. But if they don't stop this onslaught, they cannot do this. You know, the police in Virginia picked up a lieutenant in the Army and began to give him trouble. And our state police are highly trained. But why they don't stop this? And this thing is going on in Minnesota, but the Derek Chauvin, I mean, they ought to put him under the jail. He has caused so much trouble by kneeling on the death of George Floyd. It's just, on his neck. It's just terrible what's happening. And the police, why don't they open their eyes to what the public relations are? They've got to stop this stuff.
Maybe they need more training.
Yes. Now do you see why so many folks are shocked? He is criticizing the police. But what I want to caution some of our Black family of is some of you all are getting excited as if he's criticizing the police for reasons, for rebuking white supremacy. No, baby. Listen carefully and closely to what he said. Number one, did you guys hear when he said that Kimberly Potter, the white race soldier, the white female race soldier, that was responsible for murdering our brother Dante? Watch this. Notice how he pulled out the taser and the gun to say he doesn't know how they got that confused, and that she needs to be held accountable. Notice, though, how he emphasized, so he stand on code with white supremacy to let them know, look, I'm pro-police. Did y'all catch that? Notice how he made that very clear. But he specifically brought out the Black lieutenant that was in military uniform, that issue with the Black man that was tasered and threatened by law enforcement. The Black man was in his uniform. But that uniform didn't mean nothing to these white police. White supremacist police, because remember, one of the guys was Hispanic that pulled the gun on him. Remember, white supremacy uses everybody. which is why we always endeavor to make you aware so that you are not unwittingly cooperating with white supremacy, thus ultimately working against yourself and your people. Listen, he brought up the black man that was in uniform. Why? Because America has been using the uniform as some sort of a noble thing to get involved in, and they've been telling the whole world that this uniform represents freedom and democracy. So Pat Robertson specifically was bringing that up too, because America is embarrassed. She's having a more difficult time now telling the world that this uniform represents freedom for the rest of the world, when the world is seeing footage of America getting ready to murder, willing to murder a black man soldier who's doing the bidding, what some of us may even say for white supremacist racism, because y'all know they love to send black folk and other people across the waters to fight America's illegal wars. And most of the time, the wars that they're fighting are in nations, melanated nations, where they can try to take advantage of and exploit their political life, governmental life, and their resources. But America maintains an unseen and a hidden hand. So she stirs up stuff in different countries around the world. But the people that's in the country, they're blaming just the leaders that they can see, not knowing that America is manipulating a lot of stuff that's happening in these countries. She does it in a number of ways, by threatening those that are in leadership, by trying to incentivize individuals, and by also sometimes imposing economic sanctions before she starts her violence. And America has gotten slick now to where she doesn't just come in with her full-fledged military to do all of the violence for her, even though we have more military bases and installations and military bases around the world than most people, most nations. But America, she now pays dissidents. She funnels weapons and gives training to a handful of people that's mad at the government. Some of y'all be tripping because y'all say, okay, this is happening over here in Yemen. This is happening in one of the 54 countries in Africa. But you're not understanding, in America, there's a lot of us that have every reason to be upset with this country. But most countries don't have the wherewithal and the power to come here to gather up enough angry black people, put weapons in our hands, train us and pay us, and then turn around and highlight that handful of black folks, that group of black people that's mad at America. Dissent and disagreement is normal in nations. It's normal there's no job, company, corporation. You can't find a family where there's not some disagreement. But America is a trip because she takes that handful of that group that's dissatisfied. She exacerbates and exploits that disagreement, puts weapons in their hands, pays off some of them. Then she takes her cameras there, highlight that group of people, and give the whole world an impression that that whole country is out of control. And then just starts a whole bunch of mess. Talk black to me. Are y'all hearing me? That's important to recognize. So here you go. America is humiliated. That's the reason why he's rebuking them. Watch what else he says. Did you notice in the footage that he says throw Derek Chauvin, the man that murdered George Floyd, under the bus, under the jail? And notice he said he's caused so much trouble.
But the Derek Chauvin, I mean, they ought to put him under the jail. He has caused so much trouble by kneeling on the death of George Floyd. It's just, I mean, on his neck. It's just terrible what's happening.
Because he put his foot on his neck. He ain't saying that, family, because he's mad that these white supremacist race soldiers are killing you. He's saying it that he allowed himself to be videotaped for almost 10 minutes. Taking the life force out of someone with his hands in his pockets. And nothing moved him. And he knew he was being recorded. That's not all. Pat Robertson also said this. Why don't these cops wake up and the PR folk in the police department? Did y'all hear him say PR? PR is about public relations. Public relations has to do with the way that you look.
And the police, why don't they open their eyes to what the public relations are? They've got to stop this stuff.
Maybe they need more training.
Your reputation. He is not rebuking them because they're white supremacists and he wants them to stop their racism, their anti-Black racism. He's mad because as 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 says, there's a man of sin or a man of lawlessness that's being revealed. The reason the man of lawlessness is being revealed is because there's a group of people that's masquerading as protect and serve, as democracy, as righteousness, that under color of law and using the uniform, murdering Black people with impunity. Pat Robertson rebuked them because they're being exposed for being frauds. The Ku Klux Klan came out of their white robes so that they can hide in plain sight. And they instead put on white coats, black robes, and blue uniforms so that they could remain undercover. And by them continuously doing these obvious acts of racism is exposing them. That's the foundation of his criticism. And we better not get it twisted. Why? Because some of you guys will see that and you will say, oh, they done changed. You will see that and say, see, all of them ain't, America's still salvageable. No, the devil is a lie. You better not let up on your demand for white supremacy to go and unity with Black people and building amongst ourselves. Don't you use this as an opportunity and as an excuse to slack up. Somebody talk Black to me. Family, don't forget to keep liking, sharing, subscribing. Join my weekly mastermind at clubvicki.com. That's clubvicki.com for only $1. It's amazing. It's been changing lives. Follow me on Twitter at Dillard Vicki. That's Dillard, my last name first, Vicki on Twitter. And follow me on Instagram at Vicki X Dillard. Thank you so much.